Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Drop Lob Pod. I'm joined by guest star Hugo Kokna and returning guest Charlie Pittman, and as always, joined by Nathan, my co-host.
What's up, Attic? Best introduction so far. Happy to be here. Really excited to have Hugo on today, and obviously I had Charlie around today, so I figured we'd keep him here in case he had some insight to toss in at any point. Super excited to have our second guest, third guest on the pod, and to learn some more about your background. And you want to talk some stuff that's going on in the tennis world first, real quick?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll give a little intro so everybody knows who Ugo is. So Ugo and I were roommates at Everett back in 2016, and he's gone on to achieve some amazing heights in tennis and also the pickleball world. He was a standout athlete at Transylvania University. He has competed in many ITFs. He also has a lot of success on the pickleball world. You know, APP quarterfinalist in doubles, and now he's coaching in Tampa. So, Ugo, it's great to have you.
Honored to be here, guys, and excited to talk with you guys and be part of this podcast.
That's awesome. So let's get right into it. Obviously, the ATP and WTA started this week. We had some action at the United Cup. Let's talk about a couple highlights. First, I'd like to start with Team Switzerland and the man winning 7-6 in the third over France, over Rinderknecht. Ugo, did you catch that match? And what do you think about Stan still doing it at the age of 40?
I saw the highlights because I had to catch up on sleep, but it's amazing to see a 40-year-old still competing at the highest level. And I mean, Arthur, I think one of the hottest players of 2025. He ended it really well, and it just shows you that experience is something that is just unbeatable. You know, that match was phenomenal, and yeah, I mean, he still got it, and I think he has a tournament run in him. I don't know about a slam, but in a short format like the United Cup, I feel like he can really excel, and he's a confident player. When he's on, he's tough to beat. I don't care who you are. That one hander is big.
Absolutely. Nathan, did you catch the match? And also, Team Switzerland did qualify for the quarterfinals today, taking out Italy in a crazy mixed doubles match where Bencic and her partner took out Irani and Vavasori, which were the favorites. So,
Yeah.
any points to take away?
Yes, I did catch the match as a degenerate tennis watcher, and I must say, I every year for the last 3 or 4 years have had less and less faith in Stan being able to win a single third set match, not just because of his age, but because the only way I can really judge his fitness is by his appearance, and he's obviously in athletic shape, but he's not in peak athletic shape maybe compared to some others on the tour, and he kind of looks very visibly gassed when he plays. Like he's sweating, he's huffing, he's puffing. But he was down a break to Rinderknecht there in the third set. And Arthur's a very good server, like has a very high hold rate on tour. Grabbed the break right back, kept the pressure on him, like kind of maintained control through that third set tiebreaker. I was pretty surprised to see it happen. I definitely did not expect that outcome. Switzerland's bringing the experience into the tournament for sure. And I would be really interested. Charlie and I, about an hour or two ago, were just looking over all the rosters, and obviously, no country has really brought out 100% like their A game in terms of the absolute best players that they can bring out. But everybody's still got a very solid lineup out there. And in terms of their competition, I thought Italy was maybe one of the best teams up there with the USA, and they just took them out. So Switzerland's just one to watch out for. And just like last year, and just like we talked about, I'm excited to see how the United Cup plays out.
Yeah, another highlight, at least for me, was Sebastian Baez taking out Taylor Fritz. So, for people that don't know, Sebastian Baez was someone that Nathan predicted would have a downfall in 2026. He's already won his first two matches, so I'd say Nathan's already wrong there. So one thing that Charlie and Ugo have in common is they're both very tall. You know, So Taylor Fritz, being a tall player, he was sort of mocking Sebastian Baez during the match, calling him small, as
It
the
was like
Gen
an
Z
NBA
do.
celebration. I think I've seen Stephen Curry do it after like a 3-point
Yes,
shot.
sir. So
Yeah,
Steph has definitely done that before.
yeah.
Yes. So, Hugo, just talk about Sebastian Baez and talk about the challenges of being a taller player playing against someone who's a scrapper, grinder like me. I mean, you always beat me during the matches, but there is a difficulty there.
You know,
It was easy.
it's it's something that you cannot teach. The smaller players are naturally just lower gravity. They're faster from side to side, and I think you could see in that match, as it got into the second set, like Baez was just fighting, and mentally, I think Fritz just folded. He broke, and that celebration I thought was just like too much. Like I don't think you should do that in tennis. In basketball, it's entertainment, but in tennis, it's just shows me that Fritz is a bit mentally weak. Great player overall, but I think yeah, like what I saw from that match was just Baez physically destroying Fritz. And I think actually Baez is one of the most underrated players on tour. He's in every match he fights, even when he loses. I feel like he gives everyone a fair fight, and yeah, enjoyed seeing the American go down in that one.
Yeah, a little bit of a mental midget there. Charlie, what do you have on that match? Did you see it?
I didn't see it, but I saw quite a few of the highlights. Yeah, I mean, I think Fritz definitely had a lot of confidence going in. I took a look at their past five. I don't think Fritz had ever lost to him before. He was about maybe 5-0.
Never even dropped a set
I
to
don't
him.
know.
Maybe the closest in a set was like 6-3.
Yeah,
Pretty,
6-4, 6-4.
yeah.
So yeah,
So, I mean, I think Fritz was feeling pretty confident, but I saw Bias was swinging for the fences, right? That's kind of what you have to do if you're, taking on some of the top players. You got to really be on your game and be ready to take some extra risks. Bias was ready. He did it. He executed, and he's off to a pretty good start this year. He's already, making up for some of the clay swing. So pretty good.
not too happy with it. Not too happy with it at all right now. Um, but respect to him. He did what he needed to do. So I think he was probably watching the podcast before. That's the only logical explanation. Got a little bit of extra motivation in there, and yeah, I mean, as Charlie said, like Baez was swinging big. The courts seemed to maybe not be playing the absolute fastest of hard courts, which kept Baez in the match a little bit. Fritz's approach shots were lacking a little bit of depth from the highlights that I caught, and Baez was just really attacking them and driving into them, keeping the pressure on Fritz and just not letting him have any margin of error. Um, and yeah, Sebastian Baez obviously had a really weak 2025. I definitely based my 2026 predictions off of that. Maybe a little bit of recency bias by me, but he's come out looking much more physically fit, much more mentally locked in. So it would be interesting to see if this is something he can keep up for the rest of the year. I don't think January 4th is too early to call in any predictions for a 365-day year, but let's see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And Ugo, I know you mentioned you think Sebastian Baez is one of the most underrated players. I did want to get into a little bit of discussion of the ATP Tour and who you think are actually some of the more overrated players. So I'll open this up to you first, and then I'd love to hear from Charlie as well. But who do you think are some of the most overrated players on the ATP Tour?
I would say the most overrated. It's a very obvious answer is Zverev. Um,
Oh, they're friends.
mostly because of the um, mental side of things. He's never gotten through it, and I still remember the moment when he was in the final against Thiem and he hit that serve. Don't have to go into details about that, but I would say Zverev. Another one that I would say that is a little bit overrated is Fonseca. I feel like we haven't seen him enough, and we haven't seen him go that far in the Grand Slam tournaments, and I just feel like we've seen some pretty bad losses from him. Did you lose me there, my camera?
We might have lost your camera there for a second, but we can still hear you. I think you're about to pop right back in with us now. Beautiful view of the ground,
Oh,
your
it's connected.
leg. Now I
I
now I
see.
see me and
I see.
Charlie, which I am loving. But while we fix the camera situation up real quick, it was the biggest question of last year. If you're taking a player right now and it's Leonard Tien or Joao Fonseca to end the 2026 rankings higher, who are you going with?
You said Fonseca or who else?
Fonseca or Leonard Tien. It was one of the hottest debates of 2025. I think at one point it looked like Wow might be running away with it, but Lerner obviously with a huge end to the season. If you're looking at one guy you think ends 2026 higher, who would you pick? And maybe a little insight as to why. Oh, and he's back right now.
Go ahead, Hugo.
I'm back. Yeah, you see
You're
me?
Yeah, you're
back.
good.
I'm
Okay.
gonna
Sorry
toss
about
this
it.
for a
I
third
don't know
time.
what
Don't
happened.
worry.
It connected to
Nah,
my.
don't worry about it. It made for some great entertainment. I'm sure the
Yeah,
people
good
love it.
content.
You can hear me
Um,
now, right?
yeah. I would say Tien. I would
Okay.
pick Tien. I think overall his game is more all around. I feel like Fonseca at some moments of the year you could physically see him break, and I would see also that I would say also that yeah, it's just a little bit one dimensional. But yeah, Tien, I'm a fan of his game. I like the leftiness in him and just the trick he plays, mixes it up with the slice and good touch and yeah, big fan of him.
Yeah, I'm also a TN fan. I did get the pleasure of watching Qual, well, not the pleasure because I do enjoy his game, but I got to watch maybe fifth row of him getting killed at the US Open this year, early in the tournament, and I was pretty disappointed. I expected a lot out of him, and he is just kind of his backhand was just getting abused. Like obviously his forehand's incredible, but I think his backhand still needs a little bit of work to really get up there with the elite players on the tour. Obviously, he's got the intangibles, and one thing he definitely has behind him is some crazy crowds at pretty much every event across the entire world. So, I think there are a lot of things he has that many other people can't get. So, I think he can work into it, but I too would say the TN's probably ending next year higher.
So I'm gonna move this forward. Obviously, Ugo said Zverev overrated. I would agree with that. Mr. 68 mile per hour, second serve, U.S. Open final. This question is for Charlie and Ugo. I got three players for you, and I want to know which one is the best player to not have won a slam. And the following three players are Alexander Zverev, David Ferrer, and Thomas Burdick. Either one of you can go first.
I'll go first. I think the answer is Ferrer. Just because I think Ferrer got the most out of his game. Like he became a player that I think he envisioned. I think just the timing was unfortunate, where he was playing against everyone that were playing at their peak, and I think if we had a Ferrer playing today's game, I think he potentially wins a slam. But yeah, I would say Ferrer. I think Berdych is a good one as well. Very talented player all around, especially on grass. I feel like he could have gotten it done. But yeah, my answer would be David Ferrer. What about you?
Charlie?
Charles?
Yeah, I mean, I think looking on paper, you're seeing, Zverev has a great resume in front of him. He's done a lot. But then you look at the matches that have a lot of importance, and I think Ferrer takes the cake there, right? He's so consistent. He's, hung with the best of them in probably the toughest era of tennis as well. And so I think resume wise, I think Zverev has maybe the better, resume on paper. But I think when it comes down to it, actually playing tennis, I think Ferrer is best to not win a slam.
It's interesting
Interesting.
to see you guys agree on that. Edic, do you have an opinion on that real quick?
I definitely don't think it's Zverev. I just don't think
Well, we
that
know.
his level is not the same as those two. I'd probably take Burdick. Burdich. I think that he was one of the best players, and I know a lot of people have said he was one of the hardest people to play against, and he almost got one at Wimbledon. But yeah, of course, love Ferrer, another small guy. But it's definitely, you can debate that for a while.
Yeah, no, you definitely
Also,
could.
special shout out for Nalbandian as well.
Oh, good
Nalban
one.
Nalbandian is a really good player that that needs you know
More respect.
more respect. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a little before my time. I've seen some highlights. Just quick context for our viewers that maybe watch a little bit less tennis. Alexander Zverev, he's been playing easily around the last like 10, 12 years. He's been top five for the majority of that time. Reached, I believe it's three or four Grand Slam finals. Has been up, down, like had only one set remaining to win. A couple of those definitely had his chances. David Ferrer and Tomas Berdych were both kind of from that previous generation we saw, like around when the big three of tennis, Rafa and Roger and Novak were around and kind of playing at their peaks. Ferrer really hung in the top five for a long time. Another Spaniard that probably would have much more spotlight if it weren't for Rafa Nadal being as great as he was. Tomas Berdych, Czech player, bigger serve, a little bit taller, and like he had that big hitting ability to really get past the top players. More hung out in the top 10, maybe like 6, 7, 8 area. But he definitely was always a threat. Also made a final or two. I believe it was Federer that he challenged at a Wimbledon. I recently saw a little documentary on that where Federer said that he was pretty scared and thought that he had a chance at losing that. Verdict played like the best tennis of his life. So definitely three good choices for the best player ever not win a slam. But I think that we'll probably have a lot more nominees coming in the next 10 years with Alcaraz and Sinner being as dominant as they are at the moment. So interested to see where this conversation ends up maybe down the road as well.
Yeah. Also, Burdick lost to Nadal in the final. He had beaten
Okay. Well,
Federer in the quarters and Djokovic in the semifinals.
you
Um,
almost got the trifecta.
yeah, he almost did, and Nalbandian did do that. He Nalbandian did do that in the Masters event back in the
Yes.
day. So great talk about tennis. Wanted to get a little bit more into Ugo and your journey. So let's talk about your early life living in Estonia and then moving to Florida to train at Everett. Talk to us about that dynamic. A lot of players do that now where they move to Florida and the difficulties of managing that and being away from your family.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most difficult part was just the culture change and the language barrier. Because when I moved here to the States, I didn't speak any English. I went to a German school back in Estonia, and I think that was the hardest part. And I think the best thing that what happened to me was that I was put into an academy that had a bunch of international students that were going through the same path. Also, school wise, I was in Boca Prep International School, where also Eric went for a short period of time, but he did go there. Um, and I was put into class where there were other kids that didn't speak that good of an English, and I think that helped me a lot. And the training part, honestly, I didn't find it difficult because at that time, at that age, I was loving tennis so much, and I could have played all day, all night, and I honestly found that part quite enjoyable, and that's something that made me move to the States. It was the tennis. It was the the best thing in my life. Still is. And at that time when I moved from Estonia to the States, my parents were going through a divorce. Well, they got divorced, and that academy environment, I feel like really helped me with being fulfilled. Um, and yeah, I'm very thankful for this country and Everett and Boca Prep and Eric, my best friend. And yeah, just a great experience so far. And yeah, I feel like I'm still building towards where I'm going to be, but I've enjoyed my stay in the States, and I'm excited to see where it ends up.
Was
That's
there, how, real quick, sorry, for
Yeah.
those of us that are less knowledgeable about your story, how old were you when you first came over to start training here?
So I was 13 years old.
Okay.
That's when I made the move.
Okay, that's good. That's a good time to start taking tennis
And
seriously.
yeah, I would say I was probably like a top three junior in Estonia, and
Okay.
competition wise, we had a lot of good players. It was just I needed a new environment because of my family situation,
Yeah.
and like training wise too, the weather. I mean, you cannot beat the Florida weather. I think it's the best place to train, no matter what level you are. Um, so I feel like that made a huge difference in my overall,
Yeah.
game and overall happiness.
And where did you initially fall in terms of like the rankings in Florida? Like, I guess you probably had to work your way all the way up from the bottom, but like, were you still like in that? I would assume you're still probably like in that top 100 juniors, like
Yeah,
pretty.
I was like a three-star recruit. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
remember exactly what my ranking in Florida was,
That,
but
that's a very good recruit level for those that aren't aware. Obviously, like I was a 0 star. I'm sure Edic maybe got a star or two behind his name, but it's very difficult to gain a star in your recruiting profile on, I believe it's tennisrecruiter.net or whatever it was. So yeah, it's definitely very impressive. I'll toss it back to you, Edmundo.
Yeah, so Hugo, you talked about your love for the game, and obviously, when you're at these academies, sometimes the kids burn out. So, just talk a little bit about how you were able to find success and translate that later into your college play and avoid burnout overall.
I think the burnout part happens when your identity is tied to only, results, um, like winning and losing, and that defines your overall happiness. So I think how to avoid it is just having a healthy way of living. You have hobbies, you have um, good friends around you that you can talk to, um, and just daily routines like meditation, working out, and yeah, I think burnout it can happen to anyone, but I think there are ways that you can deal with it. Um, but yeah.
Do you try to like set goals for yourself for improvement that aren't related to wins and losses to kind of keep yourself like motivated, or you just kind of like I know you said that you love training in general, which is great as someone that hates it. So I'm sure that's an advantage, but obviously that's a good work ethic. But yeah, like do you write down any goals in terms of things you want to improve outside of winning and losing to kind of keep yourself locked in?
Yeah, definitely. And I would give a shout out to all the coaches that I've had. They've helped me with that part. I personally had coaches that were always checking in with me and kept me in check with what we were working on and what the goals were for each day, each week. So it was a great help. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I think writing down things in general, like journaling, has helped me a lot, and manifesting um, your ideal life. I think that's a very important thing that I think everyone should do, not just athletes. So yeah.
Could use to work on that more. I'm gonna go one more attic and then I'll toss
Sure.
it back over and let you talk to your boy. So after college, I know that Edix mentioned you played some ITF tournaments. Were you kind of pursuing some sort of a pro tennis career? Are you still pursuing some sort of pro tennis career? Or are you just kind of doing that because you were at that level where you knew you were able to compete and found it enjoyable to do so?
I enjoyed competing, but like the right now where I am, I feel content with giving back, um,
Yeah,
via coaching, and I've competed in pickleball now, and that I feel like that has given me a new opportunity to test myself and test my competitive spirit. But
yeah.
when it comes to tennis, back to tennis, I don't think I'm gonna compete again. Maybe with Eric, I would play a doubles tournament.
Yeah,
But
he could use the help.
yeah, definitely. But I think we're a dangerous team. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I
like I'm
mean,
6'7", and he's
you're
five
6'7".
five eight, 6'7".
My goodness. No, no, no. I'm a little bit too old for that, but you're sitting down right now. We can't see that. I mean,
Yeah.
you must tower over your best friend, which is that's a good partnership. Do you ever wish that you had some of Edic's intangibles when you were playing pickleball?
Um, I think the physicality, it's like Baez and Fritz. Like as a
Yeah.
kid of Baez and Fritz, I feel like that would be a pretty good player if we mixed those two
Yeah,
together.
I definitely. I
I
think
mean, like, yeah. I mean, I think what I would take from Edic is just the consistency part mentally. I think he's very consistent. I can be
yes.
more like up and down. My high can be really high, but my low can be really low, where um, I would give up on myself. So yeah, I would say Eric is very consistent, which is good for pickleball. I mean, you look at Ben Johns; he's very, uh, you know,
Yes.
very still, very like water. He
Number
he
one men's pickleball
he
player.
watch, he watches the ball every time. He doesn't panic. He's very calm. So I would say I would choose the consistency from Eric.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Edic, anything about the coaching or the pickleball you want to add in? This is your
Yeah, I wanted
time to
to
shine.
dive in a little bit to the pickleball and tennis and just talking about that because Ugo is in a wonderful position to give our listeners some in-depth knowledge. Just as a backdrop, Ugo has trained and is good friends with Ben Johns, and he's also trained with James Ignatowicz, whom people might be familiar with, Anna Bright, and I'd say he's beaten up on them pretty well. So just talk about the differences between pickle and tennis, how it is being a pickle player after having been a tennis player, and just your overall experience with those tournaments versus playing tennis tournaments.
Yeah, I would say I don't want to discredit pickleball here, but the biggest difference is tennis is a much more in-depth sport where you have so many variables and so many different strategies and ways to win. But pickleball, if I compare it with tennis, it's a game. It's a game to 11, and the points at a high level they are becoming very repetitive, and I think they're trying to make it better with the paddle changes and technology and the balls to make it watchable, like tennis is. I think tennis is much more entertaining when it comes to spectators. Um, but I would say just different skill sets that it takes. Tennis is more of a variety skill set, and pickleball is just more about hands, reactions, and creativity. Uh, three major parts, and but they're both competitive in their own way, and I think they're good for each other. Um, but also, I think pickleball could be a little bit of a danger for the future of tennis in the U.S. Like I coach a lot of the high school, middle school players here in Florida, and I see how pickleball is being pushed in schools and by parents as well, because majority of the older players are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, even later 70s, 80s. So I think we need to bring back tennis and make it more accessible um, for the
Yeah.
younger generations.
Do
Charlie,
you
do you want to jump in on that in terms of pickleball? I know you've spent a lot of time coaching and based off of what Ugo said, if you think if that's going to be a challenge to tennis in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a few pickleball tournaments, been playing more sometimes at the park, and that's where I see a huge difference between pickleball and tennis is a lot at the recreational level. Tennis, you have to set it up with somebody, right? You have your own court, right? Nobody's really coming up and asking to join in or anything like that too often, in my experience. Pickleball, you just show up by yourself. You don't even really need a ball. As long as you have a paddle, you're jumping in and you're playing. So for in terms of barrier to entry, pickleball is really, really easy, just to get started and get active, get social. So I think it might hurt tennis a bit. I still think tennis is going to be just fine. They're big enough to, invest and throw as many resources as they can to keep it afloat, and I think it'll
Yeah.
be fine. But I think it's just good. It's a good way for people to get exercise. I mean, I remember, growing up, I would play a lot of basketball, and now when I go to those same parks that I grew up on, the basketball courts are empty, and now everybody's at the pickleball courts.
Yeah. They're
And
turning
so,
basketball courts into pickleball courts.
yeah, so I think it's just good. It's a good way for people to stay active, stay moving. I think probably you can move a little bit more in tennis, but it's still, it's a good way to exercise, very low barrier to entry. And I just think it's generally good for everybody just to have an extra way to decide how they want to stay fit.
Yeah, it's too much plugging pickleball for me on one podcast right there.
Yeah, no, but I
No,
agree
no, no.
100%. Like overall, like it's great way to meet people and
Yeah,
stay social and stay off the phones because I think so many kids, so many even older people, they're stuck in their rooms,
yeah,
offices, and I think it's a great way for also like older people to meet other older people. I think
yeah,
it becomes tougher as an adult to find people, find friends. So I think all racket sports, you know, promote that,
yes,
and I feel like they should promote more of the community aspect,
yeah.
leagues
Social.
and the social aspect. Tennis, padel, pickleball, all of them, I think,
Yeah.
are great ways to connect with each other and great, meaningful friendships.
Sir, we just got back from playing Padel. That's why I have our
Cool.
co-host over here. He beat the crap out of me every game. It was
Yeah,
phenomenal.
padel is awesome. I'm a big fan of padel. I think
Yeah,
US could
it
be
could
a
be a
new
good spot to grow it for
big spot.
sure.
Yeah, I think in like 10 years we could
Uh,
see a big boom.
I
Like
think,
it is in like many cities. I think Austin and Miami
yeah.
has boomed
Yeah.
already, but I think
Orlando's hitting a very small boom. Real quick,
yeah,
as we'll keep it short on Padel. I think most people probably don't know a ton about it, but I
okay.
will just ask from a perspective of what we just talked about. Do you think that Padel point play, if we're putting tennis is the most interesting, pickleball is the least, would you say Padel would be one, two, or three in terms of how interesting the point play is on a professional level, like with the variety and the like just engagement? Because I've honestly watched all three professionally, and I'm going to insert my own opinion. It's my podcast here, even as the worst racket sports player. But I do 100% agree with you guys that pickleball is great because it has that low barrier to entry. It's a very easy sport to pick up for a beginner. The paddle, like, it's flat, it's a flat face, so like the ball can keep very controlled. You can kind of just punch into it, and like the ball will go over the net back and forth. The court is smaller, so it's kind of easier to get that initial rally going than maybe a sport like tennis. But obviously, like once you reach a higher level of pickleball, there's going to be a lot less variety as to what you can do just because of the way that the rackets are made, the way the equipment's made, and the size of the court. And I think that's why tennis will probably always remain superior, is because there's so much variety. Like you can be a person that kind of stays back at the baseline and makes a lot of balls. You can be a person who attacks the net a lot. You can hit slices. You can hit with a lot of topspin. You can hit different types of serves because it's the only sport of the three where you're hitting overhead. It also makes that like a much more important element in the match. So I think that's always going to keep tennis with more variety in terms of players. They're incredibly skilled at the sport. But I've watched some pro padel points. There are some great ones, but there are a lot that seem repetitive. So I'm wondering where you'd rate that in terms of pickleball and tennis for how interesting it is to watch a high level match.
I think it depends who you are, but I personally would rank it in between tennis and pickleball. Tennis number one, pickleball the least.
Okay, I would
But yeah,
agree.
I think what you said is correct. I mean, at the higher level, the pickleball points become very repetitive. Um, and honestly, I enjoy watching the 4-0, 4-5 level because it's so hectic and they don't know where the ball is going. And I think
Yeah,
it's fun. And tennis, I think tennis is obviously number one because you have so many styles, you have so many different shots, surfaces, factors, mental.
yeah,
And I think it's just the best,
yeah. I
absolute best.
don't think I don't think you would say that any two of even the top 10 players play the same in tennis. Like I think you could
Yeah.
uniquely define all of their game styles, and I think that's
Yeah.
like
And also like the personalities. I feel like
oh yeah,
tennis,
for
you
sure.
have these personalities and it's really fun to track all these matches and yeah, it's
No, for sure.
I have a question for you three. You can only respond with no, pickleball, or padel. So, out of pickleball and padel, do you think one of them will eventually be an Olympic sport? And if so, which one will become first? Attic, you go first.
Pickleball.
Okay. Hugo,
pickleball.
pickleball. Nathan,
No.
no.
No, I mean they did make flag football an Olympic sport, so I could see that they might go down a path like that, but no, I don't think it would happen. I I don't see the pickle. I know this is going to be like the hottest take that will go wrong for me on this podcast, but I don't think the pickleball boom is going to last. I think it's more of a boom than something that's here to stay completely. I think it's
Why?
going to
What's your
recreational level. I think it's great. I don't know how it's going to continue to be pushed at a professional level. Given what Ugo was just saying, like I do agree with it. I don't see any way that they add the amount of variety necessary into pickleball for it to become an incredibly engaging professional sport that lots of people choose to tune into, to pour money into tickets, into events. Like obviously they have a very strong like holds over maybe some older demographics that can relate to the pickleball because it's the sport that they can play the easiest. And in my personal experience, I find that when I'm playing a sport actively, I find it more interesting to watch. But in terms of really just grabbing lots of people and staying like that interesting, I don't know how they find a way to make it very profitable and therefore kind of keep pros locked in. We'll see though. Edic's laughing. I love when Edic's laughing. I
No,
love
I
how
mean it's just
creating his take.
not to be rude, but it's an uneducated take, you know, and Ugo will tell you more because he's in the depths of it. But the MLP, the PPA, there's a ton of money there. People are getting $300,000 contracts. You know, there's a lot of rules and regulations in place. The tour's already in place. I could say I would
I
say it
live
might
to be
even be
No,
in the
proven wrong,
Olympics.
and we got
It
becoming
good
might
legit. I
even
IP.
mean, it's becoming legit. I mean, you can see. I mean, the top players are making. I don't want to throw names, but they're making 2.5, 3 million a year, and that's just from the tour. And
Yeah.
the money is definitely there, and it's
Yeah.
becoming bigger and bigger every year. And I've heard Nike is thinking about jumping in as well. So when I hear these news that like brands like Nike are investing in something, then it shows me that it's becoming a legit
I,
sport that is going to be in the league.
yeah. Are you currently, I know that Edix said that you've reached the quarterfinals of an APA. Are you actively kind of participating in any sort of pickleball pro tour at the moment?
Currently, I'm just coaching, but
Okay.
I have a couple tournaments lined up.
Okay.
I'm just grinding, saving up money, and waiting for my opportunity to strike.
Only
And
coaching tennis or do you
I,
coach pickleball as well?
I do around 4 or 5 hours of tennis every day, and then 2 hours of pickleball. So I mix
Okay.
it up. Pickleball I do more privately. I do like private clients
Yeah.
and private families down
Yeah.
here in Tampa. and I also do like pickleball getaways with that Ben Johns runs and Deco Bar. Shout out
Okay.
to them. Um, but yeah, most of my time I do tennis though, with juniors and adults.
I look forward to be proven very wrong on that take. If I don't toss something out there, I'm not having fun on my podcast. But it is something that I do believe,
Entertaining.
as someone that's watched some pro pickleball, it's my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that I don't respect the players and their skills. This guy kills me in pickleball. Edix killed me in pickleball. I think you'd bagel me every single time with ease. So I definitely respect that there's a level to skill for the top players. It's just maybe not something that I have the attention span for. Edic, is there anything else that you would like to ask our star guests or our kind of star-ish guests over here before we go into the drop or lob segment? I got a couple extras to toss at them.
I think we should definitely transition into the drop or lob segment. All I'll say is, the famous Dana White never said that the females would never fight in the UFC, and then Ronda Rousey became, one of the most famous fighters. So I would never say never, and I think pickleball will be in the Olympics within the next 20 years. But having said that, let's get into the drop or lob segment. So this segment, Ugo, if you're not familiar, is where we give you a controversial take, controversial topic, and if you agree with it, you lob it. If you disagree with it, you drop it, meaning you don't like it. All right.
Got it.
So the first one, drop or lob, Yonex is the best racket brand currently.
You want me to answer this?
Yeah, it's all you.
We are dying for you to answer this.
Um, I'm gonna go with LOB. I think they're the most innovative brand. Obviously, this is a personal question, but I think other racket brands are trying to catch up to Yonex, and I see it from my own players. Everyone is gravitated towards the Yonex for some reason. I personally don't use it, but I would say I've tried it a couple of times, and I see why people like it. The head. Um, the square of the face, it just feels nice and it's very easy to play with. And yeah, I would say Yonex is definitely the best racket brand right now.
As
Excellent.
uh as guys that are a little bit more tuned into pro tours than me, do you guys think that is that like one of the most popular racket amongst pros right now, or is that something that's maybe more popular amongst people that are new to the sport? Or are they cornering both markets?
I think Yonex is controlling the market right now on the pro tour, college tour, and in juniors. People are really liking their sticks, and they've come a long way. Where really Wawrinka was the only one who was sponsored by them back in the day. So now they're dominating. So obviously Wilson and others like Bobblett have a lot of the control of the market, but we'll definitely see what happens in the future. Okay, second question. Drop or lob, Asics are the best tennis shoes for competition.
Lob, 100% lob. Um, I think they're the most comfortable. Um, they're just the best. I think you can see it on the tour too. Like these players that have different clothing brand, they're using Asics shoes. So just very simple. It's the best.
Yeah, no complaints there from me. I've been using Asics for a little while. Definitely think that I definitely agree with you on that
I
one.
do. I would say that Nike is a good brand for a lot of the players, but I feel like Nike has gone downhill a little bit. The best shoe I've played with probably is the Cage, and they haven't come up with the new one yet, the Rafa one. Um, and obviously the Roger one when he was with Nike was a great shoe, but ever since Rafa and Roger have you know retired, they've kind of gone downhill in my opinion. But I believe they could make a comeback, and I feel like Sinner and Alcaraz they play with a different shoe that's not on sale, right? Like I don't think you can buy that shoe.
I'm sure if they ask for it, it gets made. Um, Charlie over here, our other guest, is wearing Asics right now, so I believe he's inclined to agree with that. I unfortunately have very fat feet. I wear On sneakers, which I think could make a little bit of a pull, but obviously I don't think that they're maybe the most optimal athletic shoes comparatively. I just need something that fits my feet and doesn't leave me with ice packs wrapped around my feet all night every time I play.
That's fair. All right, we got two more for you. Drop or lob. The Tommy Paul, if he were to transition into pickleball, would become the best pickleball player as an option from the ATP tour, meaning take anyone on the ATP tour, he's the best one in pickleball.
I'd say drop. But also, what's your question? Is your question singles or doubles or
Singles, singles.
Going singles.
singles? He is the fastest player on tour, but I think it's not only about speed. He has great hands, but I would say drop still. I would pick. I would just pick Alcaraz and Sinner. I think would still be better because mentally, I think they're just so much better than rest of the competition, and I think they would find a way to win. But if I would pick one player to be the best in singles, I think I would pick Sinner.
Hmm.
Interesting.
I would have expected Carlos there just because of the touch. What do you think puts center over the edge in
I
pickleball?
just think the way the paddles are being made, like the paddle technology, it's becoming basically mini tennis. So I think Alcaraz and Sinner would go head to head, but if I would have to put my money on it, I would probably take Sinner, just because of his like lateral movement side to side. He's a little bit longer. I think in pickleball, it's a it's an advantage if you can cover more court. Even though Alcaraz is not short, but I think Sinner just hits the ball super clean, hits the spots, moves well, and just hits a harder ball. Which like I think the new paddles, they're super poppy. I don't know if you've tried the new Eulas, but they're very powerful.
Yeah, interesting. We'll see if anybody makes the transition. Obviously, Jack Sock has found a lot of success. All right, last one. Drop or lob, and I'll let Charlie, you can answer after Ugo. Nathan, you don't get an answer. If you had one match to win, if you needed to win one match and you can pick anybody to play it, Nadal at Roland Garros is the best pick.
That's a great question or a statement. I'll say lob. Just the fact that he's 98% win rate, I think, at the French, is there's no explanation needed. I mean, the way he fights, the way he grinds out points and finds ways to win against different opposition. Yeah, I think lob 100%.
Charlie?
Lob, easy. Easy. I wish that I could be and have, some kind of other take, but it's just like that's the only one. Like
I
I
guess you could
want to
say
give something controversial. Maybe Nathan
I guess
does.
you
I have a
could
gut.
maybe
A
you
couple
could say
that.
Djokovic. You could say Djokovic since he's done it. Um, but still, I think on Roland Garros, I mean, he's the king, and I don't think anyone is gonna get close to what he has achieved in his arena. It's his arena,
It is
it's
14,
yeah.
14 major
So,
victories at Roland
so
Garros.
he's
Rafa,
definitely the greatest of all time.
I
Uh,
believe he's
on that,
93 or 94% there, which is
yeah.
unbelievably absurd. I think a lot of us have heard that viral speech from Federer like a year or two ago where he said he won around 54% of points. I think in like the top players' careers, they went a little bit over 60, between 60 to 65% of their matches, maybe a couple closing in on 70. So to be over 90% win rate on one of the biggest stages is unbelievably unreal. He won the tournament more times than he lost a single match in there. That being said, give me Sebastian Baez on any South American clay court swing in the middle of April. Or Casper Ruud any ATP 250. John Isner anytime he's in a city where the demographic is like incredibly southern. A couple other scenarios there that I would probably take around the Rafa. Around the Rafa. I've got more up my sleeve, but I don't want Edic to jump through the screen and strangle me, so I think we'll end it there. I've had a phenomenal time having two very knowledgeable knowledgeable guests on, our star guest Hugo, and also our guest Charlie. We can call him a star, I guess, as well. Edic, I'll let you close up and wrap us
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, just thank you guys for the conversation. Thank you, Hugo. Good luck with the coaching. If you guys are ever in Tampa, I know he's coaching at West Chase, so if you need lessons or hitting
Well, I need him.
sessions,
I need
definitely
him
hit him
too.
up because he's
Need
the
him more.
best in Florida. So, any last words, Hugo?
Just thank you guys, and that was an honor. And good luck with your podcast, and hope to be back soon.
Love to have you back, man. It's been
Yeah,
great having you on. It's been, I believe, episode number 11 of the Drop Lob Pod. Someday Edic will make sure to leave the or out. But we're doing great. And we look forward to seeing everybody back next Sunday. Another episode. This might have been my favorite so far, so look forward to it.
thanks.